Um, the way that the group started for me was because of the fact that I was very shy. Like I wanted to do what I did, but I didn't want to be necessarily the source of all the attention. So
Okay.
I started bringing guys with me to sing with me, and they weren't even necessarily singers. Like one guy was a dancer. He used to come on a local show that used to come on here called Shakedown. He was a dancer, and another guy who liked singing, but it wasn't like a big one on his priority list or whatever. And then another guy who was basically like just comical, like he was like a comedian or whatever. He's funny, and he cut hair. He used to cut my hair, so I just used to tell him, "Hey, y'all, come stand around me while I
Oh.
sing it. Hit some little oohs and ahs or something with me or something like that." And next thing you know, it just became a thing where after school, just a bunch of us would just come and sing together. And then we were freshmen. So then the choir, I joined the choir like some type of way. Our school choir teacher found out, heard about me or whatever. Somebody brought me down to the choir room and I sung for her. And then she added me to the choir. And we would just sing. She never really gave me any parts or whatever. I was just there. I was like helping. She told me she was gonna make me a tenor because I was singing all deep and stuff. She's like, I'm gonna make you a tenor. This last thing I do. So she had me singing the tenor section and everything. And they did something for Valentine's Day called singing telegrams. And once we did the singing telegrams, basically somebody would pay like it's like Candygram, like you pay, and the person would actually knock on the door of your classroom and sing to whoever it is that the person bought
Oh.
the singing telegram for. So that's kind of how I became kind of known around my school because before that, I was joking one day and I started singing Ralph Tresvant Sensitivity and a crowd of girls came around. I think that's who took me to the choir direction. One of those told me like you should
Okay.
come join the choir. But we did the singing telegrams, and from then on, I became like known around the school as just like a guy that could sing. And like people would come up like, sing me a song, boy, or whatever. Or like a guy might be having problems with his girl or whatever, and he asked me to come sing a song for his girlfriend or whatever like that. So I just kind of became known like that. And then, like I said, with the guys that I was sing with, people started weeding in and out. Like more people started just coming around just for something to do. Like we had people who did percussion, would beat on the walls and the vents and stuff and make beats. And then
Yeah.
different singers around the school would come. And eventually I went to school with Sisqó in middle school. He and I
Oh.
went to a school called Northeast Middle School. And neither one of us were really big on letting everybody know we sung because he actually had an aunt who was a choir directress. So he was heavy into the church stuff too, but we didn't know that about each other. Like I knew that he drew really well. Like he was an artist and
Okay.
I was a rapper. Like I said, I used to rap. So we used to like, they put us in a classroom because we were the same grade, but we were in different wings of the school or whatever. Like I was like in the nerdy classes and stuff, and he was with the regular, like the cool kids or whatever. So they had like a class where as though they put us together so that we could, like let people communicate with people that they wouldn't ordinarily communicate with.
Okay.
We kind of like gravitated to one another in that class. Like I remember if he probably came up to me because I wasn't really big on approaching anybody. I was just like a person that just wanted to be in my little shell and mind my business because I ain't want nobody cracking on me. So however it happened, he gave me a folder to check out some of his drawings. And I gave him a folder to check out some of the reps that I had been coming up with or whatever. And we just got cool from there. So one day we were singing at the school, me and the guys that I told you about. And
Yeah.
he walked in, we were singing. By that time, we did start harmonizing, and I would, like we listen to the radio, we pick out parts to the best of our ability or whatever. And so he came along and he heard us singing, and we kind of looked at each other like, he's like, "You sing?" I was like, "Shoot, do you sing?" So he asked if he could join in with us and put a note into the harmony that we were doing. And the note that he put in was like real different. We were singing Boys to Men. I think it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And he put in a way different note that was way different from the notes, any of the notes on the record. But it sounded really good and it sounded like real unique. So from then on, I doubt that he passed the class that he was supposed to take because he was coming to my school for a shop class. He went to a trade school. So
Okay.
after school, he would come to a program and do more work at the school that I went to, which was right down the street. So after that, he just would come to the school every day, and him and I and whatever other group of guys. Sometimes it would just be him and I. They just stand at the bottom of the school and sing, and like all a bunch of girls would just come materialize out of nowhere and come out the day there and ask me like, "Your boy coming today? Your boy coming today?" And we would stand there and sing. And then it was a period where I didn't see him for a while, and Nokio, who was also in the group, he came with another guy that used to sing with me by the name of Bravette. Bravette brought him there, and he asked could he join up and sing with us too. So he started singing, and he was more of a business person. Like he wasn't more like of a vocalist. He was a model. He used to
Who's that?
model at our
Nokio?
school.
Or?
Yeah, Nokio. He used to model at the school or whatever. So he was like kind of popular too. So he would model and get us to be able to sing on the fashion shows and stuff like that at school. And he was more so about the business side of things, like hooking stuff up, like
How old
how to
was
get us
he?
to be able to do this. He was the same. He was the same age as us. Well, he was in the same grade as us. I think he's months older. Like he turned, like my birthday is in September and I turned 45 this year. He will turn 45 not until January of next year because you see what I'm saying. His
Yeah,
birthday was like the year after, so it's like he's younger, but not that much younger.
but he was.
But
You said he was back
yeah,
in
he used
those
to
days.
wear like suits to school. Like he was real like business minded. Like he used to wear like showing up suits and carry a briefcase when he came to school. And he would like
Briefcase.
even like when Heavy D came to our school, Heavy D just ran past everybody and was like, no autographs, and threw his hands up like not saying nothing. He some kind of way because a bunch of us waited at the school to try to meet him because we stayed there because we wanted to sing for him. Other people just wanted autographs or pictures or whatever. But however he made it happen, he was able to talk to Heavy D's people, whoever was with Heavy D. And Heavy D and his people sent some people down from Uptown Records or somewhere to listen to us sing at a house. And he set that up. So that was always his strong suit, like the business side of things.
But at that
And
point though, was Nokio thinking, let's try and be? Did he was he singing with you, or he was just like, let me manage you guys, or?
it was kind of like we were just singing for the fun of it. Like we were singing because we liked it. And for me, even like I wanted to be famous like Enough Bad Creation. But to be honest, when I got the attention that we was getting from the females at the school at some point became enough for me. Like I ain't even care about if I ever came out with records and got famous or whatever. I was like, these girls right here like me and they, they acting pretty much the way how I imagine they would act to a star or whatever. So that was cool for me. He was always the person with, like I've started the group like contrary to whatever was put out there. I started the group, but I started it for fun and recreation. He basically, when my mom took me out, we get to that, but my mom took me out of the group. And that basically by default, he became like the leader of everything. And my direction was just fun and singing around school and getting girls. His direction was always like, let's go sing for this person and sing for that person and see if we can get a record deal out of it.
But by this time, had Sisqó come back?
Yeah, he came back and it was a whole thing at first. So people was like, oh no, they not gonna like each other. When they meet each other, they gonna fight, they gonna fuss. But it never, to my understand, when I was around, I never saw any of that. Like it's more like everybody clicked and everybody because it's like it wasn't no reason to click for real. I mean, clash for real because they both was doing two different things. Like Sisqó was always from day one, he was one of the singers in the group. And Oak
Yeah.
was always more or less a businessman, behind the scenes type of guy. He and I used to do a lot of the writing. Like I used to bring songs, like original songs. I used to make up songs and teach them to everybody. And he used to do the same thing. He used to make up songs and sing to everybody. So if anything, Nokia and I were more like in the same line or in the same vein. So if it was going to be any clashing, it would make more sense, me and him, because we both did pretty much the same thing. But
Yeah.
like Hugo was there to sing and he was flashy. Even from those days, he was flashy. Like when he first came, he was a big fan of Boyz II Men. He used to dress like Wanye, and he used to have a cane and everything and wear a suit. And one time I gave him we switched tapes because I was always a big fan of Jodeci because he just sounded like Church. And we from Church, and my
Yeah,
crush
yeah.
when they first came out with the Gotta Love video, my crush that I used to buy now latest for every day, just so she could come and hug me and ask me for now latest. So one time I overheard her say, KC loved for me to tell this story. He made me tell it multiple times as I told it to her. And I go around, was like, tell me what they do. Was like a girl. And she was like, girl. it's these 4 sexy men on TV named Jodeci. And once I heard her say that, like that just made me basically every time I got allowance, every time my mom took me shopping for clothes, I would get some outfit that I saw them wear, or the two people with the best representation of an outfit that I saw them with it on. And I would just walk around school like that, singing their songs or whatever, to the point where people used to didn't know my name. They used to call me, oh yeah, because that's the alias that Casey Jordan used to do. So I've loaned him my Jodeci tape for a week. And he loaned me Boys and Men tape because like at that time we get an allowance, so you might not be able to get both. You get whichever one you get, and then you hope somebody trade with you. So I was introduced to the style of Boys and Men when he did that. And I started, like doing different things with my harmonies and stuff like that from listening to Boys and Men. And he came back when he came back, like I said, he was dressing like Wanye. When he came back, he had on the outfit from the Come and Talk to Me video. The next time I saw him, like after that weekend, but he had an orange, like theirs was white and see-through. His was
Yeah.
orange and clear. He had that
Wow.
same outfit on it. He had his hat turned from front ways. If he used to wear like them Gap hats, like what Boys Men wear. He
Yeah.
came back with his hat, or hat like this turned backwards, and his shades on and everything, like he was KC. And
Wow.
so, and it was cool to me because I always loved Jodeci. So it was like at that point, I used to try my best to do KC's parts when we sung. After that, I just switched and started doing like JoJo's parts, which fit the kind of voice that I had better anyway, because it's like more like smooth and pretty singing. I always loved Troop and
Yeah.
Steven from Troop, how they sung. So it fit Ralph from New Edition. So that fit anyway. So it was just us doing that like every day for forever. And then once in a while, we're throwing a couple Boys and Men songs off the Cooley High Harmony album. And it was us. And eventually Nokio switched schools. And that's when he ran into jazz. But before that, we would just meet after school every day and sing. And my mom, I was supposed to be after school in coach classes, like getting help in the classes that I wasn't doing so well. It was only one, like math classes, because I always excelled in like English and reading and all that. But math was always, I was like borderline. And once I found out that I wanted to sing, I just stopped putting any effort into it. I was like, man, I don't need this stuff. So I was supposed to be at the school in coach class, because her being a teacher, she didn't want me doing bad. I was always an honor roll student, so she wanted me to keep that up. So one day she saw me, came up to the school randomly, like try to encourage parents to pop up on their kids. And we standing at the front of the school singing Earth Angel, New Edition Earth Angel. Would you be mine? And I'm singing the Ralph Tresvant part. As soon as I say, would you be mine? The girl was like, I'll be yours. And I'm looking around to see who said it. And before I could figure out who said it, I just felt the arm on me. It just yanked me out of the building. It was my mom for real. So after that, she basically made it really difficult for me to remain in the group, because she was like just keeping an eye. My dad used to pick me up from school every day. Well, at one point I used to catch the bus, but for the most part, my dad used to pick me up from school every day. So she had him to be there on time before she would have him come a little later, so that I could have time for the coach class. But when she found out I was singing and not taking coach class, she would have my dad to be right outside the school every day, ready to pick me up. So I was able to sneak and do the performances that were in the school, like especially if they were during the school day. But and they ended up doing one performance and meeting their manager, who was still their manager, but they met him and he was, excited about the group or whatever. So he started them doing talent shows and different events and stuff, and I could never make it to any of them. So I basically sat down and I let them, we talked about it. It was like, it's just best for me to just let them go ahead and do their thing without me, because it don't make no sense for me to be at some performances and me not be at other performances. Like that's kind of crazy and confusing to anybody who would follow the group, even at that time, because Baltimore was big on groups, big on talent. Like with talent shows here, which is like big news just in our city. Like people was making good money off of just having talent shows right here with local people and our group would always be a group that wouldn't have to sell tickets. Like a lot of people had to sell tickets to be able to perform in the show. But because of the level of talent, our group never had to sell tickets. Like they were just like basically a bonus for everybody that was there. So people was making money. Like it was lucrative.
But
Not
who was
like
in the group at the time?
Once Nokio switched schools, he met Jazz. And so once he met Jazz at the new school that he went to, it was like Sisqó, guy named the same guy, Chris, that I told you was more like a comedian or whatever. Like he could cut hair. Yeah, those Sisqó, Chris, Nokio and Jazz once they met Jazz at the new school.
Okay.
So because Bravette went to school with me, he ended up stopping singing with him too, and we had our own little group that used to sing that stayed at the school. But that group, the original group, they went on and they were doing like talent shows. They opened up for different comedians. Like they were just meeting people because they sounded good, and so they would go and do shows with different comedians, Chris Tucker, and
Wow.
like different rap shows and stuff like that. They would open up, and they ended up getting a deal.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.